Well, I've been watching you for a while, and I just want to say that tonight is the first time that I actually agree with you. This topic is really good. I just think the modern day women, or women in general today, they want the wedding, but they don't want the marriage.
Hmm.
So, marriage is a big deal. I'm divorced. I've been divorced for a few years. Um, so I know what it takes to be a wife. My
Hmm.
parents, they've been married for 45 years. So
Okay.
I grew up, you know, seeing the role of a wife,
How old are you?
I'm 40.
So your parents are 45, married 45. Okay. So I'm
Yeah,
51. We're both Generation X.
right, right.
Every other generation before us were married that long.
Hmm.
Why do we
Yeah.
fail so much?
I just think we give up. We give up quickly, and also we, yeah, we give up. We don't have the patience, the endurance,
Who
and
gives up?
um, women, and there's pros and cons to that, right? So women, we have a lot of options now. A lot of the things that our grandparents had to tolerate and deal with, we no longer have to. So,
What do you,
women are
what do you mean?
educated. Women are educated.
What
They're
do you
going
mean?
to
Hold
school.
on, hold on. What do you mean?
So a lot of
What do
times,
you? What do? Hold on. We gotta talk. We gotta talk one at a time. What do? What are you saying? Your parents and your grandparents had to tolerate that you guys don't have to tolerate.
well, women back in the day, a lot of them didn't have options. They weren't educated. They didn't go to school. They were home taking
Okay.
care of the families.
Again, but
So
what did you have to tolerate?
the cheating, the infidelity, you know,
Let me stop you
and
right here. Let me stop you right here. Did you just see the previous caller?
I
The
did
one before
half of which,
last?
yes, I did.
The one who in the black community, black men cheat at a rate of 28%. What rate do black women cheat at?
Well, we don't talk about those numbers. I
Yeah,
don't
we do.
really,
What do you think?
maybe 30%.
24, but there's more of you. Black women cheat too.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So the cheating is coming from who? See, here's what I'm trying to understand. I grew up watching things that I never saw.
Hmm.
Waiting to Exhale, The Color Purple. I've been around a long time, and what I know more than anything else is, don't look in the comment section, we're talking. What I know more than anything else is women in our generation use Rosetta and Sojourner and women in the past who have made a much tougher stuff as a reason to say you're strong and independent, but you're not made of the same things. We don't quit, y'all quit. And it's not because you're being treated poorly. If
Okay.
80% of divorces are filed in the black community by women, even if half of them are filed for the worst things, that means 4 out of 10 still aren't. It's still
Well,
twice as much. That 40% is still twice as many as men file.
yeah, but I think that's all based on perspective, and that's relative to the situation and the individuals involved. So, what one woman is willing to tolerate, another woman might not
You
be.
keep saying tolerate. What are you tolerating?
Mistreatment, or, is treatment.
Huh?
So, I called to tell you I agreed with most of what you were saying
I
tonight.
know, but I get
No,
it. But the thing is, when you say something like that, man, you put it out into the air that women back in the day had to put up with stuff that we didn't have to put up with. We don't have to put up with that. And I'm asking, what are you talking about? Because all the
okay,
stuff.
I can tell you. Let's talk about the abuse. A lot of women back in the day dealt with abuse, financial abuse, physical abuse, and the manipulation that all of that entails when you
But
don't.
how many? But modern women, okay, that you're talking that Color Purple, Alice Walker stuff.
Ah,
I never witnessed any of this stuff. I'm
that's
sorry, ma'am. And when more women are finally coming out and saying that how many women do you? Let me just back it up because I don't want to get anecdotal. This is a bunch of propaganda. Generation X black women are not getting beat up and abused.
Right. Okay, yes.
And neither was silent era black women.
But the
and neither was
generation,
the greatest generation.
But you're not taking into consideration that men were completely different back then than they are now.
There was no abuse, ma'am. If you go back and look at when The Color Purple came out, it was a big uproar in this country because they said how much it was going to damage the family. Man, I'm black. You're black. I didn't see women walking through the neighborhood with black eyes and shit looking like Ike and Tina. This is
Where did you live? Where did you grow up?
Does it matter?
Yes,
did you see it?
It all depends.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I'm seeing it. It all depends on
your
community.
From? Where'd you grow up?
I'm from New York City. I'm from the Bronx. The Bronx,
exactly.
New York.
And then in the Bronx,
so, you know,
you could hold on. In the Bronx, in the projects, you can't even have men living in there.
Well, I'm 1980. There were men living in there. There were ways. There were rules that men could not live in there, but women found ways to get some men in there.
Let's do it.
But that's not what we're talking about, right?
No, what we're talking about, man. What we're talking about is you said that women in our generation did not put up with stuff other women put up with, and I call bullshit on that. Women in our generation were full of themselves. You counted as a double minority. You got Title IX and affirmative action put you in positions in corporate America that should have gone to black men as a result of civil rights. But when companies realized that they could get 2 for 1 with a black woman, black women got put in positions of power instead of black men. That was supposed to be part of our settlement. And what happened in the 90s? When sisters got those jobs, what did they do? They turned on black men. Sally Jesse Raphael, Donahue, Geraldo, Rolanda, Ricky Lake, Oprah. This is when all this, where all the good brothers at, because so many sisters have white collar corporate jobs and looking down on blue collar factory working men. I've talked about this. Dr. T.S.I. Johnson teaches on this. Our women turned their backs on black men, and you created a story that none of y'all lived.
Okay, but listen, I'm not disagreeing with that, right? I'm disagreeing with that because I'm all on the whole submission thing, the man is the head, all of that, right? I'm on that time. But black men do the same thing. As soon as they get into position of power, or they become famous, or they meet a certain financial plateau, they no longer look at black women. They go to other ethnicities.
Are you out of your mind?
I'm not out of my mind. You don't like to be.
Hold on. Look, I deal with stats. Black men are married to black women at what rate?
I'm not dealing with race. I'm dealing with facts of what I know.
No, I'm dealing with rates. I'm dealing with.
You do the math. You have time to do the math. That's your profession.
No.
I'm dealing with reality.
No. I'm dealing with statistics and facts. Black demographics.
You do research for that.
What rate when black men are married? What rate are they married to black women?
From what I was talking about in my perspective and what I see based on television, the media,
I'm basing it on actual data.
Because you have time for that, Kevin.
Well, then don't talk about it, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what's prevalent and what is being.
Then don't talk about what I'm saying, ma'am. Man, your title is so author. And if you're going to talk about black men like this, if you're going to talk about black male image, I'm going to ask you that you be right on the facts. That's all I'm going to ask.
So you want me to give the complete?
I want you when you data. Can come. No, what I want you to do is What I want you to do is if you can come out talking about when black men get a position of power, then they do something so forth. If you can say that, you better be able to back it up with the facts, data, statistics.
That's the
because they don't back. Because the facts don't back that up. Black men are married to a black woman at an 87% rate. Nobody is married out like that.
But the men that you talk about, the high value men that you always speak about,
and what rate do you think that is?
Oh, mister. Oh,
what rate? No, tell me.
Kevin.
No.
Now this is supposed to be a dialogue.
Don't. At what rate of high value men? Because what you're telling me, they marry out at a higher rate.
No, I'm saying that the high value men that you talk about on your show often. Once they are high valued, after most of the time the black woman has built them up, they shit upon them once they get to the top.
Yeah, you're a feminist.
I'm not a feminist. I am not a feminist. Do not disrespect me by calling me a feminist.
Before you say that, I don't need all the things you cannot support. what rate are men above 6 figures married out in the Black community?
Okay, you know what? Let's give a rate. 80%. I'm gonna throw out a number because you're so
80%.
stuck on the rate. But I'm talking about real life conversations dealing with women.
Stop. No, stop. What I need you to know is this 40-year-old Black woman came in and said the Black men who are making 6 figures or more are married out at a rate of 80%. 80.
Oh no, not the 6. I'm sorry. That was wrong. Let's say 60.
60. Not much better.
Okay. Well,
and you know what the international and where are you getting your data from?
See, you want to stick on data.
Because
it's very analytical. I know it does, but I'm out here.
Hold on, ma'am. Are you a college-educated woman?
Yes, I am.
So why don't you want to deal with facts, data, and statistics?
Because this is supposed to be like a talk show or a podcast,
but it still needs to be because it needs to be rooted in fact.
Okay, well, you're analytical that way, and that's how you run your show.
Well,
What I don't do is
allow people to come on and spout propaganda, because that's part of the problem in the Black community. Our image is jacked up because so many of our women decide to come in talking like you. This is the same thing about Black men being gay down low and in jail. 51% of Black men are single and childless. 64% are in the middle class. Black men in this country are 2 million less than you, marriageable. Yet we are 847,000 more marriages than you. It ain't the problem with the men. The problem in our community is women like you.
You're totally wrong. Because number one,
I will let the audience decide.
Number one, I am not a feminist. Number one. Number two,
you played one very well.
No, I am not. I am stating the conversations that are had between women of all ages, and we all agree. The majority of the women that I have conversations with, that are educated, that are high valued women, this is the conversation. So I'm just basically sharing that. You ask these questions. Because think about it.
Hold on. So
well, Mr. Kevin, you can't keep cutting me off.
Well, ma'am, but the questions that you have with these high value women, if it's not based in reality, then what is it?
It's their reality. You're going by statistics in a book based on a certain audience and a certain jurisdiction.
No, ma'am, I'm going by Black demo. Okay, so audience, what I need to do is go back to the beginning of the broadcast when I said my truth and subjective truth. Let's also talk about two things that I'm going to bring up on YouTube. Black folks, knock this bullshit off about subjective truth. Subjective truth. I actually heard a woman say, all truth is subjective. Well, that just shows me you haven't been by a philosophy class. Subjective truth is based off a person's personal perspective, feelings, and opinions. Everything we know is based off of our input, senses, and perception. Thus, everything we know is subjective truth. All truth is subjective. That's a point of view. But it is wholly incomplete. Why? Because the objective truth is things are true based upon being a fact that can be proven true or false. See, what does subjective truth give us? The same thing that gives us something like prosperity gospel does in the church. It means, I actually hear women talk about, well, if that woman thinks she's a 10, who are you to tell her she's not? And to tell her she's a 10 can make her a breaker, and then try to use all these. Look, subjective truth is saying it's basically everybody gets a trophy. When you walk out of your house, that's the truth. You can call yourself a 10 all day, all you want to. In Philadelphia, it's worth $50. See, that's subjective truth, and that my truth bullshit has done more to keep you ladies single than anything else. Because you can sit back and say, it's my truth. It's my truth. It's my truth. Audience, I want you to go back to the beginning when I said my truth and subjective truth versus objective. Your godfather is right again.
The godfather.
Because you're talking this, you going on. So basically, that's white man statistics. Black demographics are black with statistics by black people for black people. See what it is, man, is you and so many women have so little regard for black men's image? Listen, listen, listen.
Okay, I'm listening.
Because if you had high regard, you would want to know what you're saying, even between each other, is accurate, right, factually true, instead of just talking about an opinion because it damages us. When I'm in corporate America and I'm having to listen to what people are saying about us, and they cite black women's issues with us and quote them back to us, I'm like, how can I? Well, what they're saying it about you, it must be true. See, what happens more than anything else, folks? This was allowed to go on in the 80s and 90s, unchecked, unfettered, to where they can just say whatever they want to. That woman said that high-value black men are married out at a rate of 80% with nothing. You're the college-educated black woman. And I'm like, these are my critics. Even the people that say they agree, listen to what you're saying. You know those facts and data. Then what the French toast are you talking about? Stop talking about black men, because any other group of people looks at how black women like you talk about black men and say, well, it must be right if their women are saying it, because their women don't talk about them like black women talk about us on it. Because I said it at the beginning, when they're pushed just a little, what comes out of their mouths? My truth. All truth is subjective. You cannot make this shit